Why not
That's
when
what
you're
I
just
do.
postulating things?
Yep. I hopefully do maintain a clear cut uh, distinguishment of what I exactly mean. That I'm
Yeah.
very clear about going into theoretics every time
Yes.
when I do.
Yeah.
Right, because I know for some people it's hard to keep it apart. I understand.
Yeah. It's better. Yeah, it's better to understand. The direction that you're coming from. It is theoretical, and
Mhm.
obviously, yeah, that's the basis that you want to start speaking from. Um, yeah, I do love listening to you speak, Irene. Sorry, we haven't had a lot of chance to communicate in the past, but yeah, I do love listening to you speak, man. Love the idea that I've heard you have recently. Well, I did laugh. It was the thing about the no corners, and I can't
Right.
remember of the actual name of it. Is it the Mobium strip?
Well, looping. The looping element is what takes away the corners. But
Okay,
yeah,
yeah.
the over model, the model on top of that, that would give some sort of causal explanation for gravity would be a Mobius strip. Yes, but
Okay.
so specific, it's very unlikely to be that. Although it could be.
Hmm. Yeah, it's all possible, isn't it? I think that's one of the things that I found out when I discovered the flat Earth reality was everything was possible again. You've had your
Yeah,
reality kind of defined for you, but yeah, now everything is possible. Don't
but
know
that's what
what's
I
going
like
on.
about
Could
it.
be
That
anything.
it's what I specifically like about it. I'm comfortable with that because now I have all this theoretical maneuvering room and I can just theorize. And as long as I just am very strict at what is possible and what is not, and to test
I just want to
all
like
the elements
get see
of
if
science, what is out there, and the misconceptions, then I
do we
can
want to
just, I'm
give
basically building up knowledge from scratch.
do we want to give Riley a chance to apologize to Travis?
What? I heard my name. What did you say?
Well,
I said,
it's my fault. I should have mentioned it to you guys before the show started that Caroline and I are not moving forward. So
Oh, buddy.
Oh,
Well,
so
you
you and
broke up,
Caroline are
or
split up? Oh, I
well, we
didn't know
were.
that. Sorry, dude.
Yeah, I know. That's it's my fault. It's my bad.
All right, so we can retract Caroline's shoutouts then.
Well, no, you
Let's
can
just not
retract them.
mention anything
We
ever.
just don't
This
need
is
to go forward.
yeah, this is a public forum, man. Keep it private. Let's just not talk about it anymore. Yeah, doesn't
Hang on
matter
a
unless
minute.
you want to
Travis
say
was the one that
something.
was
But
doing all the shoutouts.
No, Anthony. I'm listen. My issue is just with what happened today. I think even if she and I were together, I wouldn't want rimming talked about with that context.
I'm
Okay.
blaming. I know. Point taken, and I apologise. However, I'm still
All right.
blaming Rasta Hat for the rimming.
don't blame
Yeah,
me.
yeah, yeah.
You're the one
Okay.
who jumped
No,
off the
no,
flat
no.
Earth with that.
Listen,
that's not
it's
Hang on a
the
minute,
intent.
Rasta.
listen.
You were the one that did it yesterday. Shout out to Travis.
Hey, but did not say anything specific. All I said was shout out to Travis and left it at that. You could take it how you wanted to take it. You're the
Well,
one who actually jumped off the edge with it.
well, Travis has obviously not found proof of curvature. That's for sure. Now,
And has no more evidence of view from the rim. Oh my god. Yeah, see, all I did was say shout out to Travis. Like you, the rest of you guys ran with that.
well, we hope you're all right, Travis. Anyway, mate. All right.
Yeah, yeah.
well, there's plenty of curvature in the sea. Wait, I mean fish.
just keep walking around the rim.
Oh well.
Love you, Travis.
Yeah. Sorry, we're messing with you.
No, it's all right. Like I said, I should have preempted with the.
Yeah, if I'd have known, I wouldn't have said anything at all. I'd have just dropped it. Well, apologies, Travis. I didn't mean anything bad. But I'm still blaming Rasta.
Accepted.
Thank
I
you
do
very
not
much.
accept that. I take no blame.
You don't have to accept it. I'm blaming you, man.
Ooh.
Yeah, well, unfounded blame holds no weight with me, so I'm not upset. You can blame me, but no validity. Shout out to Travis.
What's the date today?
Has anybody heard from Tommy recently?
No.
He's having a nervous breakdown.
That idiot.
I chatted with him last night. Yeah, poor man. He's really. Was it you, Rasta, who pointed out that none of his questions were really coming from anywhere? Was that you yesterday, mate?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's coming from ignorance, man. I do understand. I like taking time with people and trying to understand where they're coming from, but it feels like for the past, I don't know how long we've been in contact, he's still repeating the same thing over and over again. But he's just moved from curvature to his wisdom teeth. And that really is the only step that he's made in the last few weeks, bless him.
Shout out to Tommy.
It's a broken record.
Yeah.
He's acting like a broken record. He is a broken record. Keeps on saying
he's
the
got a lot
same
of
thing over and over again, per default. Very neurotic.
It's got a lot of preconceived ideas and there's a lot of projection in there. But yeah. Just wondered if anybody else had had his ear recently.
He doesn't have
I think he's been talking
to take big chunks of information that are complex. He doesn't have any room.
Yeah. I think he's been in contact with a lot of people from both sides, Flat Earth and Bull, obviously in chats and this, that and the other. So yeah, I think he's been thrown a lot of contrasting information about a lot of different subjects, about it itself and so on.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate. I'm your host, Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you have not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support this channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they're live, and there's also a PayPal link in the info box below the video. Most importantly though, if you would like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the shape of the Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel. So please share the show. And one last time, if you are new to the channel or you've not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. Now we have got a Ramma Jamma Ding Dong packed panel. We've got The Plain Truth, Stopping Traffic in My Rasta Hat, Sleeping Warrior, Jose, Event Horizon, Earth Flattener, Chocolate Saying, who's that, Big Something, and Arwin. Who's Big? Don't know who that is.
Big L.
Big L! Good to see you.
Yo, yo.
Welcome
Good to
one and
see
all.
you too, Nathan. I like what you got going on here, man. Free speech all the way.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, free speech.
So, any signs of curvature? I think there's no women. Gentlemen?
Oh.
Anybody? Anybody at all?
Hey, what's up?
Any signs of curvature? No? Is the silence
No.
a no answer?
No, I was just looking around. I couldn't see any.
Fair enough. Easiest place to start looking for it. Supposed to be on a sphere, right? What about axial rotation?
Yeah.
Any evidence of axial
none of that
rotation?
either.
Axial rotation of the Earth-based variety. Any evidence of that?
No.
No?
No.
No? Nobody? Packed panel.
The
and
only
so little evidence.
curvature I see, the only curvature and rotation I see is on my wife's booty.
It's always of the Earth-based variety.
Earth-based variety.
Earth-based. What about gas pressure without a container? Any evidence of that?
Never.
No.
Not even in theory.
No way.
Anybody been given any
That's the
measurements
big one.
for the distance to the sun? Any evidence of distance to the sun, gentlemen?
There is no
You know
distance to
what?
the sun.
Exactly.
Math, bro. Triangulation, they say.
Triangulation,
Yeah, but
you
you
say?
can only extrapolate it from an angular position. Angular position is really all you got when it comes to the sun.
Yeah, let's take one
Don't know
imaginary
where
number
it
and
is, how big it is.
add it to another imaginary number, and there you go.
No, but you can deduce it with a presupposition. That's the trick. That's how the trigonometry, celestial trigonometry, supposedly works. Tricks it with a presupposition.
think
Before the
Anthony-
show,
Add
like
another
100
chapter
on
to a
this.
fairy tale.
I think Anthony's
Before
got
the show
something to add on this
100 in this
subject.
splatter debate, Louis Hackett used to join a lot, and he always say triangulation, and you say like, explain it to me, you know. I used to hear just being in the audience listening, and he like, just go study triangulation. When you understand it, come back to me. Really, that's what he got. Math.
No, well, that's what I did. I didn't understand at the beginning. Hated it. Like, why? Well, how does this work? How can an angle percentage turn into preset values like that? I didn't get it. But then, there's a presupposition as a baseline at work in this formula, and that gives the preset value basically that you get out of it. It uses a presupposition without telling you. It's a very smart system. Very refined.
Anthony, have you got
But
something
it's
to
false because it's based on a presupposition.
Thanks, Owen. So have you got something to add, Anthony, about this regarding the apparent sizes of these things that we're talking about?
Sorry, I was reading something in the background. I wasn't really listening to the conversation. The apparent sizes of what?
The
Oh, the sun.
stars, when you're triangulating anything in the sky.
The way I understand it, and I may be wrong, which is why I've been asking the question, and not had any credible answers from anybody, even the notorious and infamous Simon Dan. We don't know the actual size or the actual distance to any of the celestial objects, and it appears that you need to know either or to get the other. So if you've not got the actual size, you can't get the distance. If you've not got the distance, you can't get the actual size.
But hold on.
In any event,
hold on. You can get the angular size, though, right? That would give you its apparent size, would it not?
You can't get the angular size because angular size is a sum. Angle size is a measurement, and you can get the angle size, but you cannot get the angular size because the angular size is the size of the angle from a set distance, but you don't know what that distance is. So the answer is, no. You can't get the angular size unless you know the distance.
So when they give us the angular size, that's based on the presupposition that Arwin's describing then.
Yeah, they don't know the distance, so they can't give you the angular size, although everybody accepts that it is the angular size. My position is, well, how do you know the distance to get the angular size? Then we have an argument over what does angular size mean, and I remind people that angular size is a sum, angle size is a measurement. You lot laugh at me for it not being technically speaking a sum, but my point is still the same. You need to know the distance before you get the angular size, because the angular size is a size of an angle at a set distance. It's not at any distance. So it requires a distance to be given, otherwise you don't have an angular size.
But they do have a distance.
Well said.
They do. They have a U.
Well, they have a relative, but that's not an actual, Nathan.
Sorry, AU is not a real measured size.
No, AU is a relative size only. That comes from Kepler's third law on interplanetary motion, where he detected that there was a relationship between the lights in the sky, and you could tell based on this relationship that there was a proximity relationship, a proximal relationship, but it doesn't tell you any of the distances. Obviously, the distances came from Christian Huygens, who assumed that Venus was the same size as Earth. And that assumption came from a bloke with some sticks in the ground that said that when he put sticks in the ground and calculated the shadows based on spherical trigonometry, That then told us the circumference of the sphere. But if you remove those two assumptions, then you're not left with anything credible. You're left with a relationship and not anything tangible in terms of distance.
So to
It's
summarize,
a geometrical deduction.
we don't know the distance to any of these things then, based on what you've just said.
Exactly. It's all X. It's all to be filled in. They just know the relations between all the presumed distances.
I'll make
and
a
you just fill it
recommendation.
in. That's how it can so well work with a flat Earth. If you assume a certain distance and the flat, you know how it works. You can do that with the same system. It's funny.
So Jaren recently did a video doing exactly that, changing and altering the distances and keeping the scale the same. So you can see that being done on Jarenism channel if you want to know exactly what we're talking about here in terms of manipulating.
You just change the presupposition.
Exactly, you just change the distance that you decide is the distance to one of these claimed to be physical objects in the sky. And then in doing so, you can get a completely different value for things like the distance to the sun. But based on, was it Huygens' presupposition that Venus is the same size as Earth if you presume Earth is a sphere with a radius value. So based on quite a lot of presuppositions, the first and foremost being that we're on a sphere.
And any of the globe believers can come and defend any of these points. That's the thing. I hear some trolls saying, some trolls saying we are playing both sides. But me personally, I gotta propose some of the explanations for the globe bottle, because if they don't come in to propose it, we have to do it ourselves to see, you know, where the mistakes are, because everything's got a mistake. If they think they can do better, I mean, it's an open hangout if I'm not mistaken, Nathan, right?
Yeah, all are welcome. Somebody in the chat said invite JLB. I'm like, well, the link's in the info box. If you wanted to join, you could. If the panel's full, you just have to say, can I join? The panel's full. But, you know, I don't think JLB's watching, so it probably won't be joining, I'm afraid, whoever suggested that. But anyway.
Yeah, if y'all want to get a Glober in here, I'll drop out. Just let me know.
I wouldn't be
Thank
too
you. I'm
worried.
willing to drop.
Nobody's batting our door down. Anyway, so let's move on with a bit of housekeeping. So what about scientific evidence of gravity? Has any of that surfaced?
No, never. Never seen it.
Nope.
Your mic's died, Event Horizon. It's gone back to crackles.
Typical, huh?
Oh no, it's working now. It's just got a bit of crackles. Anyway, what about a self-perpetuating molten iron core at the centre of presupposed spherical Earth? Any evidence of that?
Hogwash.
Well, someone might have been presented with evidence. We've had people on the show months ago, admittedly, that were saying, of course, this is reality.
I watched a
Maybe they're
debate
all
with
fake.
Riley and GeoStreamer about that very subject a couple of nights ago, actually. That was quite interesting.
Oh, with angular size?
No, molten iron core.
No, the evidence, yeah, molten iron
Oh,
core. He was
molten iron.
talking about go down to the bottom of the sea. That's how we know what the pressure's like. And he was saying, no, look at the super borehole. What's the pressure down there? And then you couldn't find that out. So, yeah,
He did make
that
a
was
claim later. He did make a claim later on in that hangout that somebody calculated or got evidence of the pressure inside the hole, and I did say we'd come back to it, but we never did. But the point still remains.
That's why he's gone quiet.
Yeah, ultimately he did accept that he did have not. He did know. Sorry, ultimately he did accept that he did not have any evidence for this molten iron core, and that's basically it. That was the end of it. He basically admitted that he hadn't got any evidence for his assertion. Well, if you haven't got any evidence to prove what you're saying is true, then it's just a story. Therefore, it can be dismissed without any evidence whatsoever, which was the conclusion of that hangout.
Yeah, it was really interesting. I did enjoy watching that one, Riley. That was good. So I keep calling you Riley by your surname. It's Anthony, isn't it?
Whatever. Riley's fine. I don't mind. Most of my friends call me Riley. It's fine.
Fair enough, mate.
Oddly, nobody calls me Anthony in my real world. Everybody calls me Tony,
Really?
but everybody on Flat Earth calls me Anthony. So it's like I've got to get used to being called my Sunday name again.
Well, I'll try and remember.
Yeah, it's cool, man. No worries.
Okay, let's move on. Any evidence of the R value? Earth radius, gentlemen?
Yeah.
Nope.
I think that's it then. We've covered all of it. Did you want to do a blessing, Erwin?
In future.
Radio Sanctus, Gravitas Dominus.
When.
I guess.
Go in peace, Globeheads. In R you trust.
Alrighty then. The body of science compels you. I love that.
Looks like.
So what's next?
I know we were just contemplating R. That's why it went quiet, Arwin.
Alright.
George made a new video. I haven't watched it. It was very before the first show. I see the title. He's jumping in the bandwagon of trying to attack Bob Norell or Effie Core, something like that. So yeah, George had, he's jumping in the bandwagon of attacking Effie Core, I guess.
Yeah, you would think we'd be bombarded with glow proof.
Well, we're being bombarded with interesting stories, though.
Alan B says
Cool,
you got to.
'cause- My bad.
Alan B says we've got to admit the show's boring. Yeah, that's because you ballers haven't got any evidence to present that we live on a sphere. If there was evidence, pretty sure that some of you guys would be in here arguing. You can't blame it all on Nathan's mute button, but we can blame you guys for not having any evidence to support your assertions. So yeah, might be a little bit boring, might be a bit of a one-way street, but it's not a circle jerk and it's not an echo chamber. You're all welcome to join. Just bring some evidence for your beliefs.
We had Alan on for the housekeeping a couple of times. He literally offered nothing.
He offers nothing, yeah. So it might be boring, but we're here just to remind people that you guys can't prove your assertions to be true. You all believe them by majority vote, but a majority vote doesn't make it true. So without any evidence, boys and girls, we'll just keep on coming back every day and reminding people that you guys can't prove your assertions are true. Whole body of science doesn't seem to be flooding our way with this proof that you guys believe is true.
The whole body of science needs a liposuction.
We had this conversation a
Get all
couple of
the
days ago, and
poison
we were
fat
saying,
out of the way.
is the housekeeping a bad thing because it might literally intimidate away globeheads if they listen to the intro to the show, they listen to us doing housekeeping? Well, I think, I've got no answers to those questions. In the case of people like George, they get caught out every time. They'll take us to a Wikipedia entry and it'll be riddled with R. And you'll go, well, where's the proof of R? We ask it every single show.
I think if they're not ready to present on at least one of those topics right off the bat and at any given time upon questioning, then they've got no business joining the panel at all.
It's just every time I hear the whole body of science, I'm just imagining this really fat queen that is being worshipped and she's being given garbage to eat. She loves it. Just gone really big. And yeah, it's a whole body of science, but she just
Like a
needs
Jabba the Hutt.
Yeah. Exactly.
We're being shown the ass of science.
What are all these videos, rebuttals, and answers to these questions from the Globe believers? The Sean Hoffers, the Slight Arcanes, and on all those people for answer these questions. Some more, because I see them caught up in audio frauds and bullshit like that. Where's the Globe Earth proofs?
Because you got NASA pictures, but what else you got?
I'd claim I don't know before I started crediting somebody with 2 sticks in the ground.
I got the wrong show number. Is it 504 now? It's not 503 was the last one, wasn't it?
504 now.
Don't want this one advertised as Richard D. Hall when we're not actually talking about him. Pretty sure this is 504 anyway.
I think I'm being challenged. That's fine. I have no problem actually to just go on with a baller, any baller, and see what they got. And once they get all triggery and shouting, then I'll just leave again. But yeah, I'm open for debate. On other conditions, and so bring it on. I've always been open in that I will answer any question. No problem. Any type of question. Unless it's sexual related.
So where do you guys see the moon right now when you look outside, like Nathan, Arwen?
Sorry? Can't hear
Can you
you.
see a daytime moon right now?
Daytime moon? No. There was a really bright night moon though. Last night. And it's really clear now. So it might be another bright moon this night as well. It's totally clear. I'll show you.
The moon is still out where I'm at. I'm in Oklahoma.
Hold on.
That was the nature of my question, is because it's basically getting daytime here in California, but I can still see the moon big time. I figured you guys were well into the day, so I was curious where the moon was in relation to where you were at visually.
See? Super clear blue. See the sky?
I see.
Hello, anyone?
Yeah, I see.
Yeah.
Oh, right. You want me to present? You
Nice
just need
and
to say
clear.
Arwen.
Right, so it's super clear sky here. Unusually clear. And there's no chemtrails. There's planes going over sometimes, but yeah. There is one right in front of the camera right now, but it might be too small for this webcam. And they're leaving very small trails. Along with
Choking trails over here in
maybe
California.
20 meters, something like that, 20 meters. That's it. No chemtrails, no lines in the sky whatsoever. And yeah, if that's gonna persist, and they're not gonna spray in the evening, it's gonna be very clear skies. Very clear moon. I wish I had the freaking P900 right now. I would be using it tonight. Oh well. Subscribe to my
Fascinating.
channel so I can get the super chat.
Fascinating. Blue empty skies.
Yeah.
Where's Ranty?
You don't see that every day, do we?
Where's Ranty when you need him?
Anyway.
So, guys, but I've just been sitting here thinking. In the last show, we started talking a little bit about space, and obviously, it doesn't exist, and we've all lost it for some reason. But I like we were talking about the International Space Station and thrusters and all of these kind of lies that they put upon us, and all of these stories that really don't make any sense. One of the ones that I like to think about is like outer planetary probes, the ones that goes to Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and so on, Neptune and Uranus. When they do their slingshot motion to get it out there, whether they go around the Earth to then slingshot out to Mars and then slingshot out to Jupiter, it's the bit in between Mars and Jupiter that really fascinates me, because there's supposed to be an asteroid belt between the two. And the very idea, just the idea of randomly throwing something out into space through what is said to be like millions, billions of rocks of all different shapes and sizes, micro into the size of mountains, that they say have only mapped, say, about 20% of those. They don't know where they are, but to then make us or think that we're going to believe that they're going to slingshot between Mars and Jupiter through this area, something that costs, what, billions of pounds? I'd like to see the insurance bill on that, because to me that just sounds ridiculous. They come back with this argument where it's, there's lots of space out there and, these things are distant, but you've still got, it just sounds absolutely ridiculous. And it's just one of those stories that when you think about it, no, that's just not going to happen. They're going to hit something on the way through, surely.
Nah, they got retro rockets and stuff. Thrusters.
Yeah. Yeah, they guide them from space, don't they?
They might have little lasers on them too to take out the asteroids. You never know.
Well, wasn't it C-3PO in The Empire Strikes Back when they were going through the asteroid belt? He said it was like what the chances were of successfully navigating, like driving through the asteroid field, not just chucking randomly some tin can. And they're not, it's not specifically at 9 in the morning because they've mapped this gap out that they can get through. It's a window of opportunity depending on weather conditions, because things they say are in the right place. And just chuck a stone and see if it gets through. How many times would you expect actually to get that probe between Mars and Jupiter once, realistically? Line shooting, slingshotting randomly in a window of opportunity. No. Even as I'm saying it, it makes me laugh. It is one of my favourite stories, and I say story because it is ridiculous. And no, we've got pictures of Jupiter. We've got pictures of Saturn. I had Tommy Hench last night. He posted me a couple of pictures of Jupiter, whether they were telescope-based or probe-based. But it just put me in mind of probes taking pictures of these planets and orbiting them out there in the far distant reaches of the solar system past this asteroid field, or belt, sorry. It's just ridiculous, man.
Seems as an adult that's pretty embarrassing, honestly. I mean, it's just I couldn't imagine like being connected with any of those so-called stories like that you just brought up. I mean, honestly, that just would it's just so embarrassing, honestly. I mean, it feels like I'm being caught with my pants down.
Yeah, it is all silly. It really is. The things that we're made to believe. And yeah, what do we do? Do we just go, oh, okay, NASA have taken care of it, it's fine, I'm sure they've got it all sorted out. Yeah, the authorities already got it sorted out, it's fine, no problem. It's a ridiculous story. But yeah, I thought I'd just bring it up as we were talking about, things that maybe can't happen in space. Yeah, that's not happening, is it? Randomly slingshotting a tin can through an asteroid field. Okay, you say so. I mean, that in itself just puts the whole kind of thing into question, doesn't it? Because
and obviously,
I don't know, does anybody else on the panel have an opinion about it?
As soon as they load it up with old guys in khakis, then it's definitely happening.
Yeah, true.
In the words of Han Solo, never tell me the odds.
Yeah, I've got a bad feeling about this. But yeah, I just thought I'd bring it up. The things they make us believe in space.
Can I play devil's advocate?
Of course you can. Everybody likes devil's advocate.
So, when we talk about the ISS being fake, and they show us this thing in the sky flying by, and you can track it, what would you say to those people who believe it's an actual space station up there?
It's not up to us to have to come up with a stupid just so story to be able to disprove the medium of their so-called craft. Basically, at best, we have to say, oh yeah, we agree, there is a life that we're seeing up there, sure. But the rest of it? Well,
if they're going to tell a story, they have to make the story believable. If There is something up there. It's observable. We've got apps. We can track it. They tell us where it is. Whether you can correspond though with the TV pictures that you see of these men on harnesses and all the things that anybody with a critical eye can look at and see, well, that's not right. So to put the tin can that you see with those pictures that they put on a TV, yeah, I don't think so.
But you can see the stars in the daytime?
Can you really? Have you? I know we can see the planets. During
And the
daytime.
Magellans that pet you and squeeze you and comb your hair?
So,
Do we see stars at daytime at any point? I know in the evening sometimes it happens.
According to Pettis on the space station, you can see all things in the daytime.
What? Nah.
Has anybody ever seen Tim Peake's photograph from the International Space Station of the pyramids, allegedly from ISS? If you haven't seen it, just go to Google, type in Tim Peake pyramids, and then you'll see it. Basically, he claims that he can't see the pyramids from space with the naked eye, but you can with an 800mm lens. Well, if you compare an 800mm lens to a P900, that's a 2000mm lens. I can only just about see a lighthouse at 30 miles away, and it's like a pinprick. I'm going to assert that there is no way you're going to see the pyramids at the size that he shows them on his picture with an 800mm lens, because the zoom on an 800mm lens is not that much. It's better than the eye, but not that much better than the eye. So either Tim Peake can't see very well without unaided spectacles, and which they've all got off 20/20 vision, by the way, or he didn't take that picture at the altitude he claims he was at, because they're way too big. Looks like he's took it from a normal plane at 30,000 feet.
You said they have to have 20/20 vision there, Riley, but at the same time, though, how many astronauts have we seen that basically all sport glasses? I mean, Pettis is blind as a bat.
I think they're taking the piss out of us with the astronauts that they've currently got in. They're not even athletically charged anymore, are they? I mean,
no, they'd lose their bowels, upon any type of acceleration. Give me a break.
I mean, Scott Kelly was a chunky monkey. He's not at the peak of his fitness, is he? But
no, once again, talk about rectal strength to hold their shit in upon launch.
What?
Yeah, what G did they claim that the shuttle gets to? Well, it's accelerated up, though. I wouldn't have thought it'd have been that high.
Exactly.
Nothing stops acceleration except for friction. So that's how it works. The higher the speed, the higher the friction from whatever material you're passing through. And if there is none, you just keep on accelerating. Oh, mobile drop, big time.
Yeah, mobile drop. So we might see JLB on the debate. So he's made a video called "Is it okay to spank naughty children?" Open brackets, flat earth. And in that,
absolutely,
I don't agree. Let's not have that conversation. That's kind of only a part of his video. Part of his video is mostly about whether or not flat earthers are capable of debating him, from what I could gather whilst half listening to the show, half listening to this video. So JLB is basically being challenged in some of his comments by flat earthers. And he's saying, look, I've demolished Red's rhetoric and demolished Antonio Subrat's and demolished flat earthers with my arguments. So, if you don't know what I'm capable of doing to flat earthers, check out these videos, which is fair enough because he is an exceptionally good debater. I'm sure I've mentioned in the past that a lot of the things I talk about when it comes to logical fallacies, I've got them from JLB. I'm not embarrassed to credit him for those things. So yeah, JLB is a good debater, and it would be fantastic if he came on the show. So if you're listening, JLB, I'd love to have you on. It'd be great to see you debating some of the flat earthers from your much more neutral standpoint, because John Le Bon is not a globehead.
Is he a bit like? Is he a bit like Cathexis?
No, Cathexis is far more philosophical in his approach to things. I don't know why you're not into JLB. He's purely down to evidence-based research. He's right up your street, Anthony.
To be honest, I've never come across him other than through you. Nobody else has mentioned his name before. I've never ever heard anybody talk about him.
That's because they.
And
all
that's
hate
not
him.
a dig, by the way. He's your real friend, real world friend, isn't he?
Not at all. I don't know JLB from Adam. I mean, I've spoken to him a few times on a couple of hangouts. I've done a show. I moderated a debate that he did, but that's about it. You know, I don't know him personally. I know I like his videos, and I know I like his research style, and I know I like his information. So that's
Hello.
about. Hello, Unorthodox. Good to have you. Yeah, I don't know him though.
Thank you.
Say again. We hear you if you're just doing a sound check. Good to have you.
Yeah, I'm gonna hit mute for a second. I'll jump on here and talk to you guys in just a minute. I just wanted to jump on here while I could.
No worries.
I'm gonna mute myself for a moment.
Yeah, so if you're challenging JLB to a debate, it'd be great if you did it on this platform. That would make my day.
Well, a debate about what? Flat Earth?
Flat Earth in general.
So if he's not a ball earther, what would the debate be? Is he... What's his position? Did you say he's neutral?
Well, pretty neutral. I mean, he's guilty of using a formological fallacy, which I pointed out to him in one of his comments. I didn't follow it up and respond. You know, whether or not he's aware of that particular logical fallacy that he was utilising is neither in or there to me. If he wasn't and he read my comment, he is now. If he hasn't read my comment at all, then maybe he's not. Maybe he has read my comment. And...
Hey, while we have a second here before Unorthodox gets on, I'd just like to pose a pre-question that he might want to answer when he comes back. Maybe not. But just if he knows how offensive it is to be ranted at by a hillbilly as some sort of academic authority figure is just incredibly offensive. I mean, incredibly offensive. So I'd
who's
like
the
to know
hillbilly?
if he's aware of that.
Who are you talking about?
Unorthodox.
Is he the hillbilly that you're referring to?
Exactly, yeah. Does he realize how offensive it is when he comes in to be ranted at by, I mean, just an outright hillbilly like that? I mean, it's just unbearable.
What's a hillbilly?
A redneck.
Like beyond the hick.
A hick?
What? What are you
What's a
talking
hick?
about? Who?
These are Americanisms that are vaguely familiar to me, but I don't really know what they mean.
Unorthodox, like hollers, you know. You
don't know what a hillbilly is?
If anyone's gonna sleep with my cousin, it's gonna be me.
Yeah.
Hey, music. Good to have you.
A hillbilly's a country bumpkin.
I like how someone did the banjo solo. That's hilarious.
Do you not remember the Hillbillies when we were kids, Nathan?
Yeah, I remember the Beverly Hillbillies, but, you know, that's a TV show.
No, here, no. There's
exist.
people that are really like that, Nathan,
Yeah, they do
and
exist.
Unorthodox is one of them. And so to be ranted at by and railed by somebody like that is just—it's offensive.
But who was it?
Or Arwen, how for the
You know, like
100th
half of America
time?
are
God
country
bless
bumpkins,
America.
We're talking about something that happened, right? So
No, we're
who
talking
was
about
another-
Unorthodox. Every day that he comes in, it's an offensive attack by a vicious, crazy hillbilly.
Okay.
Well, he's here.
That should give you an idea of how stupid you guys are. Country bumpkins
doesn't
and
really have the
hillbillies are
accent of
bitching
that.
at you guys, telling you how stupid you are.
Other guys.
That should give you a little idea.
All I hear is
What's your
hibbity
point
hibbity
about
hibbity hibbity you guys just don't have you guys just down there.
All right.
Is it
What's
just
his point,
constantly
though?
playing in your head or what?
That's kind of
Keep it up,
racist,
man. All I hear is
Nasa.
banjo music.
You're being
Yeah,
racist.
we get
man.
it. That's what your theme song is, playing in your head constantly.
So what's your point, though, Unorthodox? Why have you
Well,
come in
that's
here
just
today,
like
then?
that's,
Was it, is
that's
it to
the
troll?
highest capable thought he's possible of.
I can't understand anything that you're saying there, man. All I hear is banjo.
Well, I'm trying to look for some rain ponchos and talk crap to you guys too at the same time, so bear with me. But we were going to talk about the Coriolis effect.
Glory
Just a
hole.
moment. Yeah,
An
Coriolis.
Orthodox, stop fucking
The
around.
Coriolis?
You're making a lot of noises. It's very annoying. Just keep your mic still.
Like I said, I'm looking for ponchos here. Hold on, let me hold it with my hand.
Just come in here to waste time.
Classic
all it is.
hillbilly gets on the panel while he's out looking for ponchos.
No,
Yeah, it's
what's your point? You've come in. What's your point? You want to talk about Coriolis? What's your point?
So, like, you guys seem to totally misunderstand the concept
No,
of
we
like
don't.
what's going on with it, like a reference frame, right?
Let me show you.
Oh, hello.
So I would like you guys to tell me what you believe a reference frame is, and then we'll see if you're
Watch
correct.
at my screen, and you'll get the entire picture in one visual. Very simple.
Oh, really beautiful.
Thank you.
Talk us through it, Owen.
So, clear?
What's your picture, Arwen? I gotta click on you. There's like 10
Yeah.
people in here. I'm on mobile, so what's your picture? Oh, here it is. I see it. Okay. So, let's see here. Walk us through it.
Well, it's very simple. It's two models. In one, the air moves with the Earth on the left. And because it does so, it's basically one reference frame, and the bullet, as it moves, will just move with the air. The air is going to push on it as it's moving because, yeah, the entire Earth is rotating. So there's no Coriolis effect. On the right, the air layer is stationary and the Earth spins underneath it. So when you fire a bullet from that Earth, yeah, the Earth is going to keep on turning while the bullet is going to be stuck in the stationary air layer, causing a Coriolis effect. Just like on a merry-go-round that is spinning on a non-spinning environment, including the air. And if you throw a ball off there, it's suddenly going to be in the non-spinning environment reference frame, causing the Coriolis effect for the person sitting on the Earth or the merry-go-round. So on the right, you do have two reference frames and the Coriolis effect because of it.
So you're saying it's real?
No,
So
I'm saying this is a description of the Coriolis effect on the model Earth.
Coriolis effect is real. Yeah, you can replicate it very
also
easily with a roundabout. You just hold a ball while spinning on a roundabout and throw the ball. The ball is being carried with the spinning reference frame when it's in your hand, and not with the spinning reference frame when it leaves your hand. Now that should apply to the spinning ball Earth model. The problem being that if it does apply, you would have radically different times, east to west, west to east, in flights. You don't, because we're not spinning. The Earth isn't being carried with the atmosphere. We're just not spinning.
We're just not spinning.
Yeah.
So you think the Coriolis effect is real, you just don't think it applies to the atmosphere.
I'll say it again.
Exactly.
I'll say it again.
Right? Because the
I'll say it
atmosphere
again. You didn't listen, so I'll repeat myself. If the Coriolis effect is in effect because the Earth is turning, then the planes that travel east to west or west to east would have radically different times because the Earth would be turning underneath them.
Yeah, George argues
that's a major factor. That's a major factor in flights, right?
Yeah, George argues that the atmosphere goes with the Earth, so therefore the flights is not an issue. But if that's the case, then you have a problem with bullets, because then you don't have a Coriolis effect.
Well, you just don't have a Coriolis effect because
Well, they are affected by the Coriolis effect. The airplanes.
Right.
You talk
So
to any
George
pilot
must
or
therefore
anybody
be
in
wrong.
the airline industry.
But
The
George
Coriolis effect
wrong
only
about?
works if there are two different reference frames for an object
Owen.
to travel.
Hold on. So you've just thrown out there that the airline industry does take into effect the Coriolis effect.
Yes.
Right, that's just an assertion. So do you know what you need to
He's
do?
playing with the microphone.
Sorry, I'm walking around. I let go of it for a second. I've got to hold of it
Yeah, you're
again.
making a lot of background noise on your microphone. Behave.
Okay. Yeah, I'm walking around. So
that's just an
basically what I
assertion.
want to talk about is you guys are trying to act like you
No,
don't understand
stop.
what wind is,
Stop.
right?
Stop.
You guys don't understand
Stop.
what wind
Stop.
is?
No, we do
Shut up.
understand.
Stop.
We do
Stop.
understand.
Stop. You made an assertion that airline pilots take into account the Coriolis effect.
No, I'm saying it's factored in. Like you can look at the flight pass and it all adds up.
Sorry. What do you mean you can look at the flight paths and it all adds up? You've just claimed that they take it into account. So are you going to retract that bullshit or cite something that proves it?
No, it changes.
Don't tell me what it does. Don't tell me what it does. Right? I'll start backing up Rastahat and saying that you're a stupid redneck. Don't assert something unless you can back it up with evidence, redneck. Stupid redneck. Don't assert it unless you can prove it. Don't then tell me what your assertion is about and describe it to me. Prove it with a citation.
Yeah, stop acting you're cool when you don't actually have anything to back up your positions.
Hey, I've got
We're
an
not
idea.
falling for your
a
act,
flat
okay?
Earth topic.
We're not
Right?
falling
This is the
for
flat
your
Earth
act.
debate, isn't
Just
it?
bring evidence and
We are
then
not
if you bring
moving
it,
on
you can
an
act
orthodox.
cool, okay?
Right? We're going to rub your face in this,
Is this the flat
till
Earth
you
debate?
concede or
Is this the
present
flat Earth debate
evidence.
or not?
Are you just going to rumpus me, are you, redneck?
Evidence and you can act cool
Just
if
going to
you
rumpus
like.
me, are you? I'll say it again.
Let's
We are
debate a flat
not
Earth topic.
moving on. Either you concede your nonsense or you cite something to prove it. Which are we going to do? Because we're not moving on until you do one or the
I'll
other.
say it again slowly. I'm on mobile.
I'll say it again. I'll turn
Nathan.
syllables into long
How many times you want me to
words.
say it?
I don't care. You can tell me where you've got the reference from.
No, I can't at the moment because I'm doing two things at once.
Sorry, so you can't remember where you've got this bullshit from, and you're just going to assert it without anything at all to back it.
Participate or drop and
Can you
piss
back up
off.
anything that you say, Nathan? A single thing? How about one
Then
flat
stop
Earth?
doing
Sorry,
what you're-
yeah, I'll say it again. We're not moving past this. Not one bit. Your shitty little distraction's not going to work. Are you going to concede?
Okay. If I concede, Nathan, can we debate a flat Earth idea?
Well, we haven't got a concession, so I'm not agreeing to anything until you
Okay, well,
pick
I'm
one of
asking
your
you a question.
choices.
If I can-
I'll give them you again. Either you concede that you've just made it up with no references and no citations, and concede that you've just made it up, or actually cite a reference to back up your nonsense. Those are your two choices.
I'll concede, but I want to concede. If I concede, then we get to debate a flat Earth idea.
So you've conceded. So when you asserted that airlines take into account the Coriolis effect, that was just total bollocks that you made up on the spot.
No, I've researched.
What do you mean, no? That's the concession here, dickhead. That's what I'm getting you to concede. Option 2 is you don't have anything to back your assertion.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I'm on mobile, Nathan. I don't. And like I said, I'll concede if we can debate a flat.
Excellent. So you've conceded that you just made it up without any evidence to back it whatsoever. You just made it up off the top of your head. Like a retard.
No, I just told you I didn't make it up off the top of my head.
Well, cite it then. I'm not just going to accept your assertion because you tell me you didn't make it up. Cite some evidence to back it then.
Like I said,
I don't want to hear I'm on a mobile.
Flat Earth idea.
I don't want to hear I'm on a mobile. I don't want the distraction or subject
How am
change.
I going to present it if I'm on a mobile, Nathan?
You can tell
Can't
me
present.
where you
Know
got
that.
it from. Tell me verbally. Use the same ability that you used to throw out this spurious accusation, this spurious claim. Use that same ability to back your claim.
Like I said, why don't I just concede and we'll say I'm stupid and then we can debate a flat Earth topic.
Okay, I'll accept that. You've conceded that you're stupid and you just make stuff up with absolutely no way of backing it whatsoever. Like many globeheads, you come here and tell us that we just have to accept your religious belief about this shit. We don't. You just make it up off the top of your head. It's just your religious belief, unorthodox, and we don't accept your religious belief
Hey,
here.
buddy, I can't find these.
Pardon?
Can we get a banjo solo?
Let's move on to the flat Earth topic. So, what
No,
flat Earth topic would you want to talk about? Come on,
No, okay, he's conceded. I didn't make any concessions for him or tell him that we would be moving on. What I want to get some ground rules, though. Anything you assert, you must provide evidence for, Unorthodox, based on the fact that you've thrown an assertion out and we've had to get you to concede for quite a period of time. So how are you going to do that if you're on mobile?
How am I going to do? What if I'm on mobile?
Back what you claim.
While holding a banjo.
Well, exactly. I got a banjo. I can't do that right now.
So you're here to just throw out assertions. You can't back anything that you claim here?
Just like you, Nathan.
Sorry, I'm not claiming anything. You've come in
We're
and
on
started
a
talking
level
about...
playing
Oh, now you're rumpusing me. I've not claimed a damn thing. You've come here and made a claim about Coriolis.
I've never heard you back up anything.
Excuse me, I'm not making any claim. You have made a claim, and now we've had to spend a considerable time backtracking and getting the audience to understand that you're just an idiot who makes stuff up.
I made a claim, and it's been
I'll
pretty much proven.
I'll concede, but...
You've already conceded. We already know you're a dumbass. We already know you make claims with no evidence. We know you make this shit up. I'm trying to establish that why would we go forward with you if you're just going to throw out stuff without backing it and then claim that your phone is the excuse?
Because you can't debate, that's why you would...
Yeah, we can. Yeah, we can.
I don't think so. So let's...
Oh, well, let's not get your opinion, Redneck. We're not interested in a Redneck's opinion. We're more interested in evidence that you might provide, but claim that you can't. You've only come here for assertion making, right?
No, I'd love to debate a flat Earth topic.
I'd like to hear you say flat in only one syllable instead of three.
Flat.
Flat.
Oh, give me a break. My country accent isn't that bad.
See, so the assertion I made right off the bat, which is that we were being literally sitting here ridiculed by a hillbilly, is conceded. Thank you.
Yes. Half of America are hillbillies.
So let's get on. What
America.
do you got? What's your question?
Well, let's talk about the sun. How come you guys talk about perspective so much, but when it comes to the sun, that doesn't apply?
Yeah, because we don't have any confirmation that it is physical. That's
don't know what it is.
So the same rules do not apply as to the Earth.
We don't know what it is.
So you make a special exception for the sun?
We don't know what it is.
Look, you say we deny perspective when it suits us. Perspective is looking. So when we look at it, we look in perspective. We look at the sun, we look at the horizon. We look at it in perspective. What's your point?
I'm talking about the angular size, how it doesn't reduce when the sun sets.
You don't have an angular size. We went through this earlier on the show. You only have an angle size. You only have the apparent size of the sun. So what are you talking about? We only get an apparent size to begin with.
Let me just respond, Nath. One line.
Nothing changes. You can do a solar filter and
Unorthodox.
changes.
What?
You know
Nothing, hold on. Nothing changes about... Let me just get this in,
Are
Anthony. Nothing changes about what? The apparent size of the sun? The apparent size of the sun?
Yes, Nathan.
Well, it's just an apparent size. Do you not know what the word apparent means, hillbilly?
It means that you're trying to obscure the fact that the sun doesn't change angular sizes.
Apparent size. Its apparent size doesn't change, but that's not its actual size. It's its apparent size. I'll ask my question again. Do you not understand what the word apparent means?
I do, Nathan. Why? So why doesn't the
Tell me.
apparent
Tell me then. Tell me what apparent means.
means like you're basically trying to say that it's not really, or it maybe possibly it is changing. You just perceive it to not change.
No, it's just an appearance. It appears. Yeah, that is
so
without confirmation
change?
of it actually being there. There is no confirmation. It's just an appearance, a sighting.
A sighting.
Very consistent sighting, but the proof about its physicality remains to be gotten.
So let's just read the definition. Apparent, adjective, clearly visible or understood, obvious. Or seeming real or true, but not necessarily so.
So what else do we see on the Earth that...
Sorry, did you hear my definition? Sorry, are we moving past the sun then? So we only see an apparent size, seeming to be real size, seeming to be true size, but not necessarily so, according to the definition of apparent.
Based on what? I mean, you guys...
I'm giving you a definition, not based on anything. It's a definition.
Take everything at face value. Why would
we
you
can
not
compare
take
it
the sun
to
at face value?
rainbows. It's very simple. We compare it to rainbows. Rainbows you can actually generate in front of you if you'd like, and you'll see a apparent rainbow. It's not actually fixed in a specific position, because if you change your view position, then so does the apparent position of the rainbow change in accordance. And that's very likely how we also perceive the heavenly bodies, including the sun, the phenomena of the sun.
Yeah,
It
but
doesn't explain the daylight, but it explains the apparent
light,
disk
though.
that we see, because it appears, it reacts in a similar fashion.
It emits
The
light,
observation.
though. So, you know, doesn't that kind of defeat the whole
It has a
appearance
holographic.
thing?
It
It's not
appears
some
to have a
kind of-
holographic nature, and the non-proof
nature. In
of
what way?
physicality backs that assertion up.
The nonsense point is saying the apparent size doesn't change. Who cares? It's only the apparent size. It's meaningless. It's like saying the horizon. Well, the horizon's only got an apparent position. Hey, Zinder.
No, it doesn't have an apparent position, Nathan.
Yes,
we
it
know
does.
exactly how far away the horizon is.
Sorry, the horizon isn't a thing, you stupid blithering idiot. What do you mean we know exactly where the horizon is? It's the apparent position.
I can tell you how far away the horizon is.
The horizon isn't a real thing. What is the horizon? Tell me what the horizon is. Is it the apparent position that the sky meets the ground? Because the sky doesn't actually meet the ground. It's just an apparent position of something. You idiots on the globe side who think you can measure something that's apparent, like the horizon, that's just because you're all stupid.
It's a diffraction obstruction induced visual phenomena.
It's the point where apparently the sky meets the ground, but in reality it doesn't meet the ground. It's just an apparent location of something non-physical. You think you can measure that because you're an idiot. Because you're an idiot globehead who's listened to too many fairy tales about measuring apparent things like horizons and thinking they prove things to do with spheres. That's because you're an idiot. Taken in easily by fairy tales about measuring apparent things. Go away and measure fairies. Go away and look for trolls. Go away and measure a bloody rainbow and its actual position. Go find that pot of gold, retard.
I don't think you can find
Keep your sister and cousins alone while you're at it.
You guys apply perspective to everything. You talk about perspective.
Perspective of an apparent position of something? No, we talk about perspective when we talk about buildings and boats and physical objects that disappear hull first, when you think they go over a presupposed radius edge. That's what you think.
It's not presupposed.
Yeah, it is. What's your evidence for the value of R? If you say it's not presupposed, give me evidence for it right now.
I think you know how they get R.
Sorry, you're going to tell me about how they measure the apparent position of the horizon now?
Nathan, let me have a minute with this, gent.
Go ahead.
So you just claimed twice, and I tried to get you on the first time, but Nathan spoke instead. Now I am getting you. You make the claim that we continuously go on about perspective and how things get smaller over as a function of distance. Why don't we apply that to the sun? Arwin correctly pointed out that we can't even prove that the sun is a tangible object. I agree.
Yes, you can.
The second point, the second point is, are you aware that at elevation in warm climates, the sun and the moon appear to be pinpricks in the sky? They do not have the same size that we see them at ground level.
I don't believe that. Appear to be pinpricks in the sky at high elevation.
Go and have a look. Go and have a look on Deep Inside the Rabbit Hole's channel and look at his most recent couple of videos. He shows that the sun does dilate in size as a function of distance because the climate is warm and the elevation is high, and therefore debunks your assertion that the angular size of the sun does not change. It does. It just requires a dry environment and elevation. But we're all at sea level, and we have a wet, moist, humid environment, and that seems to be the cause. So come back after you've had a look at Deep Inside the Rabbit Holes channel, because it debunks your assertion that we don't consider perspective, because the sun does appear to change its angular size.
You have a non-biased source, or is he a flat earther?
Say that again.
Is the gentleman you're talking about a flat earther? Is it a non-biased source?
Deep Inside the Rabbit Hole, DITRH. Look at his most recent couple of videos.
Flat earther, though? Is he a flat earther?
Well, does it make any difference if he is? The point in the video
biased.
shows. No, how can you be biased if you're at elevation in a dry environment? The sun does change its angular size. So your assertion that we don't apply perspective is because we see the sun in a different state than what we see in a dry environment at elevation.
I'm not really sure what this has to do with the sun setting and not changing angular size.
It was a rebuttal to your assertion that we never apply angular size to the sun. Why does it not apply? And the answer to that statement is that it does apply, but we observe the sun at sea level mostly in humid environments, and it's not the same when you're at elevation in dry environments.
I'm talking about in regards to the sun setting.
So am I.
I'm just not talking about generally speaking. I'm saying when
so
the
am
sun
I.
sets, the sun should be getting smaller,
so am I.
in size
so am I.
on a flat Earth.
So go and look at Deep Inside the Rabbit Holes channel. Look at his last few videos in the last week or two. Then come back to us with your assertions. Until you do, you've basically been debunked, mate.
Doesn't that kind of prove my point, though? You're saying that it does sometimes change in angular size, but not when it sets.
No, it doesn't. No, I was responding to your criticism that perspective is not applied when it's us. Well, we can apply
you're
it.
pretty much backing my argument then.
No, listen, your original claim is that the sun does not change its angular size. Well, it does. We go to elevation in a dry environment, and you can see that it does. So, in other words,
that's not what
when
we're
you're
talking
at moist,
about, Sleeping Warrior. We're talking about in relationship to its setting. We're not
yes,
talking about
that's what I'm talking about. When the sun sets,
weather conditions.
when the sun
you're
sets,
telling me
it
that
changes its
I
angular.
thought you were just talking about the weather. You
No,
go up, it
I'm
changes.
talking about the sunset.
Okay. Okay. All right. I understand what you're saying now. So you're saying
Right, so-
if he's in a hot climate at a high elevation and he witnesses the sunset,
Not hot,
he does
dry.
He does. Okay, dry. So in that instance, he does when the sun sets, he does see it change size.
Correct. And he puts numerous examples on his videos in the last 2 weeks.
Oh man, if that was true, you would have. There's no way that's true. If that was true, that would be shocking evidence. That would be, travel around
I'm
the globe.
so glad you said that.
No, I have a different theory about it. It's diffraction induced. It's just like the miraging zone, all that effect. That is what you
Who
get to
cares
see
what the
then.
theory is? Let's look at the evidence. I'm
There's
so
no
glad you said that. Let's have
The angular size changes but the speed does not change. So it's only an optical phenomenon.
I mean, that's still an
speed of the sun
exception
never
to the
changes.
rule, Sleeping Warrior.
Well,
not really.
before-
I'm gonna
Well, before you get into it, because I'm going to round out for another 5 minute, maybe 10-minute break. So we're going to have a third show. So with that,
Well, hang on,
I'm gonna
Nathan. Just play this in the background.
play what?
I'm screen sharing. Just play
I'd
this
like
in the
to see it.
background.
I'd like to see it.
Okay, yeah, you're up. You're on.
Now you speak while this is playing. It's only 3 minutes.
Yep. Sun goes to warp speed.
You're not speaking, Nathan.
Mean speaking.
I interrupted you. I was just saying carry on and just speak while this is playing in the background.
Well, what I was saying was I'm going to round out.
Interesting.
So I can't round out while this is playing.
Oh, right. Okay. Well, don't
It's
round out
okay.
just yet. This is... I'm doing your work for you, dude. If you look on Deep Inside the Rabbit Holes channel, he's showing examples of... And this one on screen right now is not a good one because there's a hill in the way. But what he's showing is that the sun does, in fact, change its angular size when the elevation is right and the conditions, the humidity is low. So dry environments at elevation, you do see the sun change its angular size. Now, some people will argue that there's no solar filter applied. I don't think you need a solar filter to see that this changes its size.
It's apparent size.
Because it's going lower on the horizon. There's a greater distance between it and you. The lower it goes on the horizon, and it's going to diffract more.
Ooh, that's a good
one. You can see that it's getting smaller. Well, I mean, you can argue solar filters if you want, and I'm going to laugh at you, but I would still
I
encourage
agree.
you to go look at his videos.
Its apparent size does absolutely change, but the angular speed of the pathway does not.
Right, I am going to round out for a short break, but I will also say that we are only talking about the apparent sizes of things. So apparent size changing is kind of meaningless. It's just its apparent size. Anyway, with that, I will say first and foremost a huge, massive, enormous thank you to all of the debating panel for making this debate possible. And of course, a massive thank you to all of the live audience for tuning in and hopefully sharing this debate. If you hated the show, then you know exactly what to do. But if you liked it, maybe consider sharing it with a friend or subscribing if you've not done so already. I've been Nathan Oakley and I'll see you all in the next video.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!